This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Eddie Hearn here in Manchester. Eddie, good to see you. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling great, actually. Actually can't wait for the show on Saturday. I mean, look, it's been a great run. I think it's been very well documented, the sort of rise of these Riyadh season shows, and they've been incredible, but really good to kind of put the flag in the sand with a big show on Saturday night. A great fight, really compelling fights on the undercard as well. Amazing new arena, the first time there's been boxing here, and yeah, looking forward to it. Buzzing.
Catterall pulling up some receipts there. I don't think anybody expected.
Yeah, Regis.
Sorry, Regis Prograis did I?
I mean, I've never seen Sam Jones actually lost for words before, and the thing is in boxing is you say things a couple of years ago and everything can change, you know what I mean? But they can always get pulled up, and obviously Sam, before he knew Jack Catterall, had a different opinion on what would happen in a fight with Regis Prograis and Jack Catterall, which was quite amusing. But all mind games and fun and games. Don't think it affects Saturday night, which is a real good 50-50 fight. I think one of the best fights in the division outside of a world championship, and can't wait.
Obviously, Sam's very much so Team Catterall now, but is that how much the tide has turned over these last couple of years? Would you say Jack's a heavy favourite going into this fight?
I think he's a favourite because obviously he's coming off one of his career best performances against Josh Taylor. I think Regis kind of lost his way a little bit against Zorilla and Devin Haney. Devin's a tremendous fighter, but I don't know whether it's the hunger, but he kind of called this fight on to fight over here in the UK, and I think he's got the bit between his teeth, and I think you're going to see a more aggressive Regis Prograis in this fight. So, I make Jack the favourite in the fight, but I do think it's 50-50-ish, and just a brilliant fight. Two real world-class talents.
And with the rest of the card, Eddie, you've obviously got the likes of Rhys Belotti, Michael Gomez Jr., a rematch between Flint and Hatton. Just walk me through what to expect.
Listen, as much as I'm here for Prograis against Jack, I'm also here for Campbell Hatton against Jimmy Joe Flint. Look, 2 weeks ago we were watching Bivol Beterbiev, right, for Undisputed. There's levels in everything in life, and although this is a, area stroke English level fight, English title level fight, I just cannot wait. I can't wait. I mean, the first fight was so exciting, and all of a sudden Campbell Hatton's supposed to be having an 8-rounder and gone, do you know what? Bin the 8-rounder off. Just put me in the rematch. And it's like there's no point beating around the bush. He has to win on Saturday night, or probably his career on the big shows is done for now, even at such a young age. And I do think he'll actually win the fight, but I just love it. I love it. I love fights like that, as I love fights like Gomez against Rhys Belotti. I mean, Gomez is going to have the whole arena screaming for him, but Rhys Belotti is, as he pointed out, probably our second longest serving matchroom fighter, current active fighter. He's always in great fights, and that will only be a war. Throw in Pat McCormack, who I think is probably one of the best prospects in world boxing, going for a title as well. Junaid Boston, William Crawler, look out for him. Serious puncher. I think he's going to be really, really exciting. Joe McGrail, so exciting as well. Emily Whitworth making her debut with Kieran Farrell. Steve Clark sold a load of tickets. It's going to be a great night.
And you take me back to yesterday of Usyk-Fury 2 press conference, obviously the undercard press conference too. Just with that main event one, what did you make of it all, the demeanours of both men? What did you take away from it?
Difficult. Was it 9 weeks out or something like that? Like, no one wants to be there, to be honest with you. Like, they're both about to go into training camp. Fury didn't look overly interested, and then all of a sudden Usyk turns up with his outfit on and stuff like that. I think what I saw was Tyson Fury just saying, just get me to camp. Like, I can't wait for this fight. I mean, it's very difficult to beat Usyk full stop, but it's really difficult to beat him after he's already beaten you. And I think he's so confident, Usyk, going into this fight. But listen, Fury is capable of anything, and he's a great fighter, and hopefully he can do the business.
Do you think Fury's mentality and mindset of whenever he's faced a previous opponent in a rematch is always stopped for him, won't come to fruition in this time round?
I think he could stop Usyk. I think he could, yeah. But doing it is, it's very difficult, and he's going to be up against it. He's definitely got the ability to win the fight. The first fight was very close. I mentioned that at a presser yesterday. After I was up there, found myself up on the top table on Team Fury's side, and I'd like to see him do it. I would.
Times change, Eddie. Bob Arum's comments that Taylor-Catterall Sheikh has maybe had a few words from those above himself suggesting that Riyadh season shows should stay in Saudi Arabia. What can you tell me? Have you heard anything like that?
To be honest with you, Bob Arum is absolutely off his Swede. Like, he's 93 years. Who is Bob Arum speaking to? I mean, Oh yeah, I've heard that, someone above Turkey had a shot. Like what? Like it's just like mindless gossip. The show in Los Angeles was a massive success. It was one of the best shows I've ever seen. One of the best nights, one of the best atmospheres. When Eminem was up there, I'm not sure, since I've been promoting in America, and this includes Canelo Alvarez, all these great nights. For me, that was one of the best nights, one of the best cards, top to bottom. And I don't know why Bob seems to kind of be a hater about what is unquestionably one of the best things to happen to boxing in a long, long time. And I know he's got his back up because Jared Anderson took a tough fight, and he wouldn't put Jared Anderson in a tough fight because they don't want to put their prospects in a tough fight, because that's not what you do. I don't buy into that. At the end of the day, Jared Anderson is supposed to be this top world-class prospect. Was it a mistake fighting Bacoli? Yeah. You know why it was a mistake? Because he ain't good enough. You have to be smart with your matchmaking, but I really hate the negativity in boxing at the moment, where it's like, oh, you shouldn't have taken that fight because it was a bad style, or it's like we should never have fought Usyk, AJ, but he was the mandatory, and we think we're the best heavyweight in the world, so you fight him. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the whole thing with Tim Tszyu against Mertz Alive. It's like, oh, Tim Tszyu should never have fought him. It's like Tim Tszyu was like a 3 or 4 to 1 on favourite going into that fight. The reality is, there's a very good chance that Tim Tszyu is not elite level. That's it. But he had a vacant world championship shot in a fight he believed and his team believed he could win. What do you want to do? Start turning that down and looking for an easy one? Or stay in Australia fighting nobodies? No. It's sport. You're supposed to fight the best. You're supposed to compete against the best. Otherwise, West Bromwich Albion would never play Manchester City, would they? Are you West Bromwich Albion or Birmingham City? Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, we ain't playing Man City. They're a bit good, they are. Or that's not really a good style for us. Shut up. It's fucking sport. Get in there and show you're the best. And if you're not the best, guess what? West Bromwich Albion can still win games, but just not against teams that are as good as Man City. And that's the same with Tim Tszyu. So Tim Tszyu now, go back to Australia, rebuild, and roll the dice again. Maybe that's just his level. But you can't start... So I hate the whole, shouldn't have taken that, bad style for him. Beat the fucking style. That's the whole point. Or you're not good enough to beat the style. I hate this negativity of just trying to make safe matchups. Like, on one hand, fans want to see amazing fights, right? They want to see 50-50 fights. Then you get beat, and it's like, oh, you got him beat. Or you shouldn't have taken that fight. It was a bad style for him, or it was bad timing. No, he weren't good enough. That's it. Tim Tszyu was not good enough to beat Mertz Alive. And guess what? Maybe he'll never be good enough to beat Mertz Alive. But he rolled the dice for the World Championship. Simple.
Just say it, I don't think Guardiola Ball could beat a Carlos Corberán low block, but yeah. Just a couple more from me. The Beterbiev-Bivol fight, a bit of time to reflect now. Where do things sit with the appeal process and everything around?
We've written to the governing body. I mean, look, His Excellency's made it clear to both fighters he wants a rematch as soon as possible. So it's over to them. I don't see the governing bodies. I mean, the IBF have called a mandatory. I just lost for words, to be honest with you. But anyway, and Bivol won the fight, in my opinion. I understand it was a close fight, but, I've watched it back and still stand with the majority who say Bivol won the fight. But we want the rematch, and hopefully it get made.
Frank Warren's comments last week suggested this week he wanted to try and have an opponent tied in for Daniel Dubois. Obviously, I know you want to try and make that Anthony Joshua rematch. Is that looking likely now? Yeah,
I mean, AJ's made it clear to myself and the team, I want the rematch. I think the only factor is the timescale. If he's going to fight February 22nd, he needs to go in camp in the next 3 weeks. Coming off that fight, there were a few niggles, some in camp, but some in the fight itself. He wants to go through with the fight in February. There are people who feel that's a fast turnaround. Bear in mind these niggles. So we've got to make a decision. Do we go February or do we wait till May or June? And if we do, we'll either rematch Dubois in May or June, or we'll probably see what happens on December 21st. And if Fury wins, maybe we fight him for the world titles. But AJ's stubborn and he wants to rematch Dubois. It's just whether February will come around too quick. If so, we'll fight again in the summer, but we'll make that decision soon.
I have to ask Eddie, IBF rules don't usually allow somebody who's lost in a world title fight to go in immediately for another world title shot. What's the difference or the exception here?
It's all based upon sort of the fight that you're in. I don't think there's a stone cold rule. It's always open to evaluation from the committee. I think if you are Anthony Joshua and you lose in a great fight like that on a huge occasion, it's different to someone that's not boxed at the weight before or is coming off a defeat for not a world championship fight. When you are involved in a world championship fight, I believe that the selection is different from the IBF versus not, especially when it's their governing body.
Taylor-Serrano too, will you have any involvement out there on that promotion? Are you still involved with Katie Taylor?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I've been involved with Katie Taylor a whole career and will continue to do so. So we represent Katie Taylor, we're extremely proud of her. I'll be there for that fight and I believe she'll be victorious against Amanda Serrano in another great fight.
Who's headlining in Monaco, Eddie?
It will be announced this week, so today or tomorrow.
Last one, Adam Azim. His comments after his fight about Dalton Smith digging into kind of you guys and the comments towards Ben Shalom. What did you make of it all?
I mean, no one really questions anything they say. You know, on one hand, they don't want to fight Dalton Smith because he hasn't got a world title, but they just boxed O'Hara Davis that lost in 1 round to Ismael Barroso. You know, they don't want, like, Barry McGuigan, Shane McGuigan, they're smart people in boxing. They know Dalton Smith is not a good fight for Adam Azim right now. But no one seems to ask the question, will you fight Dalton Smith next? And Adam Azim can't sit there and go, yeah, I will fight Dalton Smith next. Because guess what? Adam Azim ain't got a voice in the situation because he's controlled by people who will not allow him to fight Dalton Smith. And by the way, Dalton Smith's going to go on and fight Fernandez and then he's going to fight for a world title. But we like the Azim fight because it was ordered by the British Boxing Board of Control and the EBU, and we know we win. Like, and Adam Azim's a good young prospect. But when he starts saying, oh, I've heard the IBO title's vacant, I mean, what a cop-out that is. An unbelievable cop-out. You wait, because he ain't going to fight Harlem Eubank next. You wait to see who he fights next for the vacant IBO world title. A load of dross. That's what it is. And when you're ready to fight Dalton Smith, we'll fight him. But we're going to move on, fight for world championships. And Adam Azim's a good young fighter. He's just nowhere near Dalton Smith's level.
Appreciate your time as always, Eddie. Thank you.
Cheers.